The SKF Ball Bearing Company of Sweden registered the name Volvo, meaning I roll in Latin, in 1911, and the company started work on developing a car specifically for the weather and terrain of Sweden in 1924, building 10 prototypes over the next few years, and finally introducing the Volvo OV4 in 1927. But the Openwagen 4 was a cabriolet and was not popular in the cold climate. So a closed sedan version was added just after a few months, as the PV4, or personal wagon. They used a 112-inch wheelbase and 1.9-liter 4, and nearly 1,000 total would be built over its first couple of years. They would introduce their first commercial truck less than a year later, with the Series 1 LV, using a 28-horsepower 2-liter 4. The PV4 would be replaced in 1929 by the PV650, moving to a bigger 116-inch wheelbase and a 3-liter 6-cylinder engine, which would quickly grow to a 3.4-liter and then a 3.7-liter. And a line of 7-passenger taxis would be introduced. By the mid-30s, Volvo was expanding into marine engines and more commercial trucks, such as the B1 bus, while the cars were becoming increasingly luxurious and expensive, such as the stylish PV36 Carioca. But dealers wanted a more affordable model, leading to the smaller PV51 on a 113-inch wheelbase. As the war expanded in Europe, Volvo would expand into building aircraft engines, and the Terrain TPV military adaptation of the new 800 series taxi line, as well as the Stridswagen M42 medium tank. After the war, Volvo offered 3 PV series cars: the 800 series that would soon evolve into light trucks, the standard line premium PV60 down to a 112-inch wheelbase, but with a 3.7-liter 6 and only lasting a few years, and soon the small PV444, which was 166 inches long on a 95-inch wheelbase and powered by a 40-horsepower 1.4-liter inline 4. This would become their primary model and would soon gain a duet wagon version. In 1950, the company acquired the Bolander Munktell Tractor Company, and they experimented with a sports car, producing 68 of the P1900 Sports Roadster for 1956 and 1957. It used a tubular steel frame and the 4-cylinder engine from the 444 tuned to 70 horsepower. At the same time, introducing the mid-sized Amazon, also called the 120, 130, and 220, depending on the body style. It was 173 to 177 inches long on a 102-inch wheelbase, weighing roughly 2,400 pounds, and initially powered by a 1.6-liter inline 4 that would also be used in the PV544 of 1958, when it provided 84 horsepower, in a car that gained several updates, including new curved glass and an available 4-speed manual. A sporty model would return in 1961 as the P1800 2+2, marketed as a touring coupe. It was 171 inches long on a 97-inch wheelbase and weighed 2,500 pounds with 100 horsepower. The PV series would go away in 1966 when Volvo introduced the 140 series, or 1 series 4-cylinder. Initially, with the 1.8-liter, it was 183 inches long on a 103-inch wheelbase and weighed 2,600 to 2,900 pounds, offered in 2, 4, and 5-door versions. It was joined in 1968 by the slightly bigger 6-cylinder 160 series, 186 inches long on a 106-inch wheelbase and 3,200 pounds. Its 3-liter straight 6 produced 143 gross horsepower, or 128 net, and had a claim top speed of 118 miles an hour. 1970 would be the final year of the Amazon, with roughly 670,000 having been made since its introduction. By 1972, the P1800 had become the 125 horsepower ES variant and gained a shooting brake body style. But 1973 would be its last year, the same year the tractor division would take on the Volvo name. For 1975, the 100 series would be replaced by the 200 series, with the 240 and 260 sharing the same body, being 193 inches long on a 94-inch wheelbase and weighing 2,800 to 3,000 pounds. Base engine was a 2-liter 4 with 89 horsepower, climbing to a 2.7-liter V6 with up to 138 horsepower. Around the same time, Volvo would purchase a controlling stake in DAF, effectively taking over their automotive division. leading to the DAF 66 becoming the Volvo 66. Only 154 inches long on an 89-inch wheelbase, and around 2,000 pounds, powered by a 1.1 or 1.3 liter with 46 or 56 horsepower, soon to be joined by the 300 series, 164 inches long on a 94-inch wheelbase and 2,200 pounds, using a 69 horsepower 1.4 liter Renault 4, marking the beginning of a 20-year collaboration between Renault and Volvo. But it was the 200 series that would come to define the Volvo brand, soon gaining a turbocharged model. The company's focus, however, was moving towards the commercial truck side of the market. And in 1981, they would acquire the White Motor Corporation, an American manufacturer of commercial vehicles. In 1982, the 260 was effectively replaced by the more upmarket 760, 188 inches long on a 109-inch wheelbase, and 3,100 pounds, initially using a 2.8-liter 6 with 154 horsepower. But it was soon joined by a 4-cylinder 740 and 740 turbo, with 113 or 180 horsepower. In 1986, Volvo formed a partnership with General Motors to manufacture heavy commercial trucks, and the GMC commercial trucks were replaced by White trucks under the name White GMC. They introduced a coupe version of the 700 series as the 780, which, contrary to Volvo naming structure, did not have an 8-cylinder engine. The 66 was gone by this point, but they introduced the equally small but sportier 480. It was 168 inches long on a 99-inch wheelbase, weighing 2,200 pounds, and used a 1.7-liter Renault 4 with 107 horsepower. It was mechanically similar to the soon-to-follow 440 and 460 that would replace the 340 and 360, which likewise did not offer a 6 in either case, with the base 1.7-liter providing 80 horsepower. The 700 series would be replaced in 1991 by the 900 series, also in 940 and 960 forms. Most were 190 to 192 inches long on a 109-inch wheelbase, and 3,200 to 3,400 pounds, offered with a variety of gas and diesel engines with available turbos. And although the 200 series would carry on for some time, much longer in some markets than others, it was effectively replaced in 1992 by the 850, which aimed for a much sportier image. It was roughly 185 inches long on a 105-inch wheelbase and weighed 3,100 to 3,500 pounds, powered by a 2 or 2.5-liter inline 5. Which could have up to 243 horsepower in the soon-to-arrive T5R version. The Volvo-Renault partnership would end in 1994, and there was significant restructuring for 1996, moving to a 2-digit naming structure with body styles indicated by S, C, or V as sedan, coupe, or wagon, with the 900 series becoming the 90 series, or S90 and B90. The 400 series was replaced by a new S40 and V40, initially 176 inches long on a 100-inch wheelbase, weighing 2,700 to 3,100 pounds. And the line of White commercial trucks would start to transition to the Volvo brand name. The following year, the 850 was replaced by the S70, 186 inches long on a 105-inch wheelbase, and 3,100 to 3,300 pounds. It would be joined by a C70 and V70, and soon an all-wheel drive version, initially as the V70XC. In 1999, the S90 was replaced by the S80, 190 inches long on a 110-inch wheelbase, and 3,500 to 3,800 pounds. And Volvo sold their car division to Ford, who added it to their premium automotive group with Aston Martin, Jaguar, and Land Rover. Volvo Truck was expanding and took over Renault Industrial Vehicles, which included the ownership of Mack Trucks. For 2001, the S70 was replaced by the smaller S60, 180 inches long on a 107-inch wheelbase, and 3,300 to 3,700 pounds. But the V70 would carry on, partially due to the existence of the XC70 all-wheel drive version. And Volvo would get an actual crossover SUV for 2003 as the XC90, 190 inches long on a 113-inch wheelbase, and weighing 4,800 pounds, initially with a turbocharged inline 5 or inline 6. But in 2005, it gained a Yamaha-sourced 311 horsepower 4.4-liter V8. 2006 saw the introduction of the C30 hatchback, 167 inches long on a 104-inch wheelbase, around 2,900 pounds, and powered by a line of inline 4s and 5s. Then 2008 would see the introduction of the compact crossover XC60, 183 inches long on a 109-inch wheelbase, and 4,000 to 4,200 pounds. But mounting losses and an economic downturn had Ford selling off assets, and in 2010 Volvo was sold to the Chinese company Geely, who restructured the company with a new line of small engines and scalable product architecture. And by 2015, they would set a new record for annual sales, in no small part due to growth in China. 2017 would see the introduction of a new S90 and an even smaller crossover in the form of the XC40, which would help introduce the new Polestar electric vehicle division, a name which had previously been associated with their performance models, although plans to make Volvo's lineup completely electric have been reconsidered, in spite of an increase in new electric models, such as the EX30 and EM90. Volvo Trucks has also announced a fully electric model, due out this year. Although not associated, both Volvo and Volvo Trucks have been more successful over the last few decades than ever before. Will this be a continuing trend, or have they peaked? Time will tell. So as always, thanks for watching. Don't forget to comment below, and like and subscribe.